4 .22 calibre rounds were fired into this Braybrook house.
Les Twentyman.
Les Twentyman.
Les Twentyman.
Les Twentyman. Les Twentyman.
Working in youth work, it comes with a lot of risk, and previously in the early days, I've been stabbed twice, both in St Kilda. I heard this person screaming out my name in the park in Footscray. The next minute it was a petrol bomb that landed beside me. I had to go to a crisis in Braybrook one night, and when I knocked on the door, the woman answered with a shotgun. They're all trapped in this terrible bloody drug scourge. I had one girl who was a street prostitute at 13. She died on the streets at 18. When I went to try and find her grave some years later, she was in an unmarked grave. So, in some parts of certain cemeteries, there's 3 or 4 kids who have died from drugs all buried in one plot. What we see of vice users is people who don't send their kids to school because they don't know what day it is, who have violence around them all the time, so kids pick up on post-traumatic stress disorder. We can't arrest our way out of it, and we won't, we can't. It's $250,000 to lock a kid up for 1 year. I can employ 3 youth workers on that, but we don't seem to go down that line. It's always, let's build more jails, more police. It just doesn't work. We're still too conservative here in Australia. Jails are not switch finishing schools, they are violent places. If you go into a jail, and I was recently speaking in one of the jails where they told me that everyone in there are in gangs, because if you're not in a gang, then you become a victim. So this thing about putting young people into jail to change their ways is absolutely, look, it's just so pathetic, it's not even worth bloody thinking about them.
All I wanted to say is these people, they need a mascot, like someone to encourage them that there is more to life than just roaming the street and trying to have power. They just have to find what they're good at and do what they love.
Years we've created, our charity has come from the people and worked up, not come down, we're here and this is what we do. We picked up that, back in the early 80s that kids couldn't go to school because they had no school books. So we started up a back to school program. Then we had issues around kids in gangs fighting each other, but we found out they loved playing basketball. So we started up a basketball club. Now we've got 470 kids. My father used to give out food, and that's probably why he never lasted as a business person, because he was too, he was more concerned about the welfare.
Yeah, I do see him as Les as a father of the West for sure, definitely, because he looks after all these kids, all us adults, he is like a father that if you didn't have one, well, Les will be there for you, because I think he's been, done the struggles as well and sees how it is, and I don't know, he's just got a massive heart, that man, and I don't know, almost making me want to cry, because he's just done so much for us.
There's an old saying, once you swim in the depths of the ocean, you should never be afraid to fly. And these kids have, that's why they take the opportunity, the leadership and the basketball, because they've been swimming in the depths, and we have given the opportunity to put some wind under their wings to fly. My father always said I wouldn't work in an iron lung, but I always knew that unless I was able to get the story out, then people weren't able to help me help them. And so, as uncomfortable as it's been, at the end of the day, kids go to school, kids are playing basketball, kids are in leadership groups, and that can only come by good people. If you're not part of the solution, then you're definitely part of the problem. Communities and society falls apart when good people do nothing. I've had some of this camera show.